Hi, and in this video we're going to look at updating premium plugins and themes. Now by premium themes, I'm specifically referring to those that do not sit in the WordPress directory. Now all themes and plugins that sit in the WordPress directory are enabled for auto updating. Therefore within WP Pipeline we can see that those updates need doing, and we can control those updates and update them automatically during the processes that we've already learned. However, premium plugins, or many premium plugins, do not have auto update included by the vendors. The update consists of you being emailed a link or another updated version of the plugin, and you actually have to go to that blog and then uninstall the old plugin, reinstall the new plugin, and that's kind of a long and laborious process. Now, unfortunately, because the auto updates aren't included by the vendors into those kind of plugins, we do have to use a slightly more convoluted process to update them, but we can still do them much more rapidly and much more conveniently with WP Pipeline. Now, in the first example, we're going to look at a plugin. I've got some plugins here in the library. Now, these are premium plugins. I've downloaded them, or uploaded them, I should say, from my PC, so they're physically in my library. And we're going to look at this Backlink Networks plugin. At the moment, I've got a version 2 in here, and I have version 2.1 in here as well. So we've got an older version and a newer version for demo purposes. We're going to pick these three sites: the Best Interview Answers, Best Online Beatmaker, and the Chemical Resistant Gloves. And we're just going to look at those sites. Well, in fact, I'm going to take this auto darkening welding helmets as well, and we'll just take a quick look at those sites now. So the first one, and I'm in the admin panel of this auto darkening welding helmet. So I'm in the admin panel of this first blog. And if we look in the plugins list, we'll see that that Backlink Networks plugin is not installed. And I just want to show you this as a control, so you can see that it doesn't matter if we run on this. But I'll talk about that a little bit more shortly. And if we look at the other three, we will see that the Backlink Networks plugin is in fact installed, and it's version 2. Similarly with the third blog, Networks, and version 2, and similarly with the third and final blog, we should have the Backlink Networks plugin installed as version 2. Okay, so we know kind of where we are. So let's go back to our master control blog. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to select the version 2 from the library, and I'm actually going to remove it from the library, because what I want to put ourselves in a scenario where we have plugins installed on the blog, but we haven't got copies of the old version. So I'm just going to remove that. And now we've only got a copy of the 2.1, which is the new version. So I've uploaded that from my PC and into the library. And it doesn't matter, I can select that plugin, and WPP will still be able to recognize older versions of that plugin, even though we've got a newer version in here, and in fact vice versa. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to have to go through as a sort of process for these, because there's no auto update. As you can see, everything is green on these blogs, so everything is updated as far as the auto update system is concerned. So we need to do a manual update, and this we're going to do in a couple of stages. Now we have to do exactly the same thing as if we had gone to one blog and done it. In other words, we have to deactivate the original old plugin. We then have to delete the old plugin. We then have to install the new plugin and activate that one. And we're going to see how quickly we can now do that. Now I'm going to do it on 4 blogs. And as I said before, this first one doesn't have the plugin installed, but I just want to show you that it doesn't matter. Even if you're not sure where all the plugins are, you can still select a whole load of blogs, and it's not going to mess up your blog if it hasn't got the plugin installed. So let's just go to the first process. We're going to select deactivate plugins. So we're going to deactivate the plugins first. We'll deactivate this particular plugin, the Backlink Networks, but I said it'll deactivate old versions as well. So let's just go and do that. And that will open up a window here, and you'll actually see what's going on. So it's gone to the first blog now to do it, but we haven't got one in there already, but it's not going to worry about that. You'll simply move on to the next blog. As you see now, it's going to deactivate that plugin. And if we just look up, we'll see a list now. It'll deactivate each of those plugins, and will let us know when it's complete. Okay, so with the deactivation complete, we can now move on to the next stage. We've deactivated it. We can actually now delete it. So we just simply select delete plugins, follow the exact same process. And again, it'll open up in the same tab. And although the very first one doesn't have that plugin in there, so it can't delete it, so there's no problem. It'll just move on to the next blog and continue working correctly. Okay, again, back in the main WP pipeline, we can see exactly what's going on. And it will tell us exactly when it has finished deleting these blogs for us. Okay, fantastic. That's now deleted. So now, as we've already got the new version selected, so we're going to install it. In fact, we're going to install it on all 4 of these now. Now, it wasn't installed on the first one originally, but say it doesn't matter. We can install it on there now. And if I now go to mass install selected plugins and themes, with that selected, again, we'll just do it. We'll go off exactly the same process. It'll go off and actually start to install these for us. If I go back to the master blog again, we can now see this is happening in the column here. And each blog is installing the Backlink Networks version 2.1. And once again, when it's finished, it'll tell us that that's complete. And we can move on to the next stage. So we've now installed everything, and the final step now is to activate that plugin on all 4 blogs. So we can now activate plugins, click the tab again, and it says if we look up here, we will now see the plugins being activated. And if we move back to the master blog, we'll be able to track the activity as it does them. Okay, so that's all 4 blogs now have activated and completed. So if we now look at the individual blogs again, and look at the first blog, which didn't have the plugin installed, and we just check the active plugins, and sure enough, now it has got it, Backlink Networks version 2.1, and the other 3 blogs that did have the older version in, let's just, we see this has got Backlink Networks version 2.1 now, and similarly, if we just check the active, we have Backlink Networks version 2.1, and the final blog, again, if we just refresh the active plugins, we have the Backlink Networks version 2.1. So from that, you can see how simple it is to actually update the premium plugins. I said we only did a handful of plugins there, but you could have done 10, 20, or 100. It wouldn't make any difference. The speed that you can do it is much, much quicker than trying to go to the blogs and do all that process individually.